Hey guys, how's it going? It's I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a Earth 2 update video and a little more energized this morning. Or this afternoon. I'm not as hungover. Again, when I made that video, it only posted a few hours ago, but I had made that this morning. I am going to start keeping you guys updated with 2 videos a day, one in the morning because one at night, because honestly, in this game, time does not pass like normal. I don't know if it's because the makers are in Australia or because these games update so very quickly and there's so much to do. It's just one update a day just is not enough. You're going to miss so much if I only do that once a day. So now I'm going to update twice a day. And there's a couple things that I wanted to go over that happened since this morning. Right now, this morning I had referenced that we are only going to get income from your land taxes from those tiles once a day instead of getting all of those, like every 6 seconds. You're actually just going to get it once a day. They did that just because they wanted to have give the servers a little bit of a break, and I think it'll work. Now, what time are we actually going to get it? Supposedly 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or New York time tonight. So at 8 p.m., that is when, again, New York time. If you're in California, it'll be 5 p.m. time, or depending where you are in the world, you just figure it out from there. Eastern Standard Time, that's when we should be getting the land income tax. And it's not going to be an exact date. It could be a half hour before, a half hour later, even an hour or so. And it might roll into something where some people get it before others. It just might depend on how strong your internet connection is. It might depend on if you're logged into the game. Or I don't think there's a way to have notifications set for that, although that would be something that I'm actually going to bring to the developers pretty much right after this. Someone asked me to explain property tactics and what my plan is. My plan right now, there's a short term and a long term gain, and something that I'm going to make another video about is going to be the short term flip and the long term investor. Anyone that had put in $10,000 into this at the start could right now easily quintuple their money. They could easily put in, depending on where they bought. I mean, if you bought in like Kuwait, I bought Ali Al Salem, where I was stationed over there, not because I think it's going to be a fantastic resource. Maybe it might be for oil, but I just think that it was fun. There's anyone that has been in the United States Air Force or has been deployed, or we used to have, again, I don't know how much I can say, people from other countries go through there. It's really cool to see some landmarks. Hey, there's a flight line. I wonder what he's going to do there. Hey, there's a Silver Bullet. That's a dining facility that they have right off of the flight line. That's something where maybe I could put like, oh, hey, here's some military working dogs. Here's now fine dining instead of the gruel that we used to eat there. It actually wasn't bad considering it was an Air Force, an air base. And people that don't know, if you're not in the military, when you have let's say if you're on an Army base or an Air Force base just has better food. That's one of the recruiting tools that recruiters from the Air Force will use. Anyway, I'm getting a little off topic. My plan is just to be able to, if we're doing short term, which again I'm not doing, but what other people's short term is, buy landmarks, and then people will pay a premium for those landmarks. Now, once Phase 2 rolls out, and you say like, okay, well, this is a game changer because there's no Statue of Liberty anymore. There's no Eiffel Tower anymore. There's no Sears Tower anymore. Okay, well, that's something that people at that point might not want to buy because the actual landmark isn't there anymore. Now, what people might do is once Phase 2 rolls out, if they bought someplace in New York City and in Manhattan and they rebuild the Twin Towers, that's something that I think would be really cool. I actually might do that if I'm able to buy it from someone, like wherever they have ground zero. I'll be like, hey, I'll pay this amount because I want to build this here. But in the short term, if you're buying these landmarks, I think you're only going to be able to flip them for a certain premium up until Phase 2 rolls out. I think after that and everything's kind of just, all the buildings are raised and you don't have any more landmarks unless you build them, then it'll still go for a premium just because everybody has land there. But I really think it's going to go towards who's going to be more creative. And who's going to be more creative, we don't know yet. It's going to be Americans, it's going to be the Chinese, and people from Singapore. Right now, a lot of the people that are in the game is just Americans. And I'll get back to my tactics plan in a bit, but right now, there's this person named Nudge, who's an American, that has spent almost $23,000 in the game. His net worth is $22,900 in game. Then there's a user 288928 from China that as net worth is $16,000. There's someone named Jaron 12.7 thousand. There's Arya Realty. I think that's a reference to Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. And this one is 8.6 thousand. And then a Singapore Class 1. He's got a really long name. This one's Singapore Class 1 is almost out. Use like my referral code. And that's the whole, like, that's the username. 8,400. So that's the top 5 people. And 4 of them are American. You know, a user 288928 is Chinese, or he's claiming the Chinese flag. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to claim the flag that where you live in. Again, I was going to do Peru, not because I live there, just because I was born there, but I live in America. So I just wanted you guys to realize that there's not a lot of money in this game. Like, that's, again, it's all relative. That to me is like, I don't think right now I cannot put that much money in. Once this Pokemon card is paid off, yes, I will put several thousand, probably tens of thousands of dollars into this because I see the potential. Now, am I going to wait a little bit until Phase 2 rolls out to see where certain resources are spawning? If I know that building buildings is going to be any type of, I need like steel or iron or whatever, I'm going to buy a lot of land where steel and iron spawns. So as far as my property taxes for a long-term plan, I plan to build a lot of buildings. I have a Pokemon Stadium idea in Japan. I just bought some areas in New York City, and speaking of New York City, I bought them at like $5.75 a tile, and I spent a good amount of money in there. I want to make a boxing gym in New York City because, for those of you that don't know, I used to actually box. I used to be really, really good. So that's something that I really want to do in the virtual reality world, and that's one of my plans. Every place that I want to go, I want to build buildings. I want to, like, again, I just said I want to be able to buy that plot in New York City, you know, where the Twin Towers were, and rebuild those up again. And there was somebody that says like he has Disney headquarters. I think that would be cool, and I actually even mentioned to them. They asked that in a video of mine, like, "Hey, would anyone like to buy it?" I was like, "That seems really cool because that's the place." Even though that's not Disney Land in California, it's not Disney World in Florida, but that is the headquarters that does run anywhere from Marvel Studios to those giant theme parks. And I made a reference, like maybe a company called MT Lots, M as in Mike, T as in Tango, Lots, should buy it from you. And that was just a reference to when Disney was buying all this land after he had made Disneyland, and he wanted to buy all this land in California. Walt Disney would make a bunch of shell companies and be like, okay, this company is going to be called MT Lots, and they're going to buy all this land. And then when word got out that Walt Disney was buying land in Florida to make another Disneyland type of place, people that own that land jacked their prices up. And the reason he made all those shell companies was to avoid suspicion, because once word got out, those prices were going to rise, and he just wanted to get those things as cheap as possible. But what the land that I bought in New York City, again, this morning I said, hey, it's like 5 something a tile. I bought my tiles at $5.71 or $5.75. It is now over $6 a tile in the USA. So that's something where we're still in class 3. And someone made a comment on one of the Facebook groups that I admin, saying that, listen, I've lived, and quote from this other guy, he said, "I've lived in China. When things go viral over there, they go viral." So I took that as like, okay, you know what? That is absolutely correct. They absolutely destroy anything from Dota to WoW to League of Legends. And it's like, yeah, when that happens, that's what they do. So I actually just bought some. You can still buy Class 2 China, and there's 1 billion people over there. If 1% of them decide to get in and put, that is going to be so much freaking money. At least, and a lot of the people that buy in China right now are Americans. The ones that I saw, British people, Americans, and other Chinese people. I think user 288928, the $16,000 from China, I think he's just been buying other Chinese properties because he knows exactly what's going to happen. Again, that's just a theory, and that's a long-term thing as well. I just put the property that I named in China. I bought some in Beijing. I just put it as Chavez China. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but maybe like an international relations type of deal. I'm not sure. But as far as I do want to keep peace, I want to create I really don't want to destroy in this game. I guess there's going to be an aspect of that. There are going to be warring worlds and going to be peaceful worlds, and I if there's a fun element to fighting, yeah, I'll do that. I'll take a certain amount of money and just see what I can do. If I defeat you, do I get your resources or loot that you drop if I defeat you? I don't know yet, but I think it's going to be really cool. I love you guys. Great update. I want to be able to please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. My referral code down below for people that are new. Use that, and I'll definitely be able to get you a, that 5% cash back. Use that referral code. Anything that you spend, you get 5% cash back. You can reinvest that into the business. It's super fantastic. I love you all. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for YouTube algorithm. Also, I don't know if anyone here has the money to do it or is going to do it, but I am going to make an actual other company out of this. I'm not sure exactly of the company I'm going to make, but I have wanted to make a Chavez Media type of company between what I do with the Pokemon, the Tesla, and now this. And I feel like this game, in conjunction with YouTube revenue that I hopefully generate soon, I have a little bit of money coming in from Patreon. Shout out to my Patreon members. Once I get in the office tomorrow, you guys will get the you guys get to see who they are. They're really fantastic. I love them all. Every single one of you that watches, and just talking about this is fun. Like I don't view it as just like, oh yeah, they're like Patreon members, they're like fans. Like, no, like you guys are friends. Like you guys message me on Instagram, you guys find me on Facebook, and it's hella fun. I thoroughly enjoy everything about this. And honestly, and there are some people out there that will be big into this game. I've seen it in other Tesla video makers and Pokemon video makers saying like, hey, listen, I'm just going to give general knowledge here, and if you want more information, go to my Patreon, and I will have like my Patreon mind working, and that's some real nuggets, some real data that you can use. And the reason that they do that is because they just don't have the time to answer every single question, so they do updated stuff with that. But for me, I don't know if it's because I love you guys and I thoroughly enjoy talking about this with you, but I'm not going to do that. I will never do that. I will never say like, hey, for actually more valuable information, go to my Patreon. My Patreon is just there if you guys just want to support the channel. Everything I do, all the research and all the updates, it's for free. Patreon is just, again, I don't get paid by YouTube yet. At some point in next year, I should be, because they want you to have 4,000 hours of watched video in a calendar year, and once that happens, then they start to pay you. And once I get 1,000 subscribers, I can go live. So some stuff that I do with Pokemon is that I will go, I can't do it yet because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, but I will go live when some auctions end, and I'll share my thoughts with everyone. And I'll do that as well with Tesla once, again, I get those 1,000 subscribers, and I can go live at the end of day markets, like, okay, this is what we're seeing right now. These are peaks and valleys here, and I will totally do that with this. As soon as I hear some updates, I can just go live and just be like, hey, this is exactly what's happening. This is what I just heard from the Discord servers, or someone's doing this, there's a new player in the game. I check this constantly, so I will be continuing doing so between both of my businesses. When I get back to them tomorrow, I would very much love to do that. So it seemed that 69% of you, 69, LOL, are watching this are not subscribed. So it would really help, and I just want to not only grow the channel, I want to grow this user base, because everyone that is here with me right now, putting their time and money and effort into this game, is going to be able to ride the tailcoats of the success of the game and ride the wave, as it were, once a whole bunch of new people find out about this. Again, they just did a soft launch. This is a very new game. Nobody knows about it. They haven't even done any marketing. This is really all just word of mouth from people like you and me. So that's something that I think would be cool if you guys just subscribed, shared with your friends, and again, use that referral code, because the more, that's just a plug-in. Just please use the referral code. It helps me out. If you don't have the extra money to, just say, hey, you know what, I can't use your Patreon, but what I can do is I have some tax revenue that I'm going to spend. I'll use your referral code because you give such awesome updates. That'd be great. I love you all. Class dismissed. Until tomorrow. Meow.